Welcome to Module 205K, Drawings and Plans. There is a lot of information that goes into a construction project, and not all of it will be located on the electrical plans or in the electrical specs. Understanding the organization of drawings will help you find the information that you need. Our objectives are to identify the divisions of drawings and their application, identify the different views and schedules inside the drawings, and learning how to extract information from the drawings. Standard drawings are divided into 6 different sections, and it coincides with the order of construction. The first section we have is architectural, and is the basic look and layout of a project. This is the first drawing that is developed, and it is based on the customer's needs. Once the architectural drawings are refined, then they're developed into working drawings. The working drawings would include the structural, the mechanical, and the electrical drawings, as well as the shop drawings. For the structural drawings, this would include the building frame, room divisions, stairs, windows, and doors. Mechanical drawings would include both heating and cooling, as well as plumbing drawings. Electrical drawings would include not only our basic electrical, but also any communication drawings as well. Shop drawings are provided by equipment manufacturers, and they show details of the equipment itself. Another part of the drawing that we should be familiar with is the title box, and inside the title box there is a lot of information. First of all, we have the project name and the company information, as well as what drawing division we're in and the page number of that division. For example, this is Architectural Drawing 1, A-1. We can also find the scale of our drawing on here, and not every drawing will have a scale. If it has the annotation NTS, that means not to scale. We also have our notes and our revisions. And our notes and revisions are filled in from the bottom up. And that means that the uppermost notes or revisions are the most precedent ones and the ones we need to follow. Within each division, they all hold different types of drawings. Some of them will hold more drawings than others. Some of them will have different views than others. The different types of drawings within each division also come in a very specific order. They will always be the site plan, then the floor plans, then the elevations, and then sections, then details, and then lastly we would find schedules. This is a sample of the architectural site plan. This gives us an overall layout of the site. It would include things like the building locations, sign location, and the distance between property lines. Turning to the architectural floor plans, we see what the room layouts for each floor should be like. This would include things like the walls and doors and windows. You'll notice there's not a lot of dimension on here yet. The dimensions would be found on the structural floor plans. The next type of drawing we have is the elevation. The architectural elevation would show us our exterior finish. You should notice there are not typically any measurements on these drawings as well. This gives us an idea of what the overall look of the building is going to be, and we can also use this information to determine what type of materials we might need in different areas. If we are to look at a mechanical floor plan, what we'd notice that is different between the architectural floor plan and the mechanical floor plan is the mechanical floor plan will still have all the wall partitions and everything else that we would see otherwise, but it's also going to include things like duct runs, toilet locations, tub locations, and anything else to do with the mechanical aspects of the building. These are great drawings for us to know as well. This way we can see where the duct layout is going to be, and we can avoid those areas with our conduit work and our junction boxes. For the mechanical sections and details, these would give us the overall layout of how things are going to be installed, what kind of distances we would need for clearance, as well as any other details that we might need to know. Electrically speaking, having access to the mechanical sections is important to me because I can identify different parts that I might need to have to wire. For example, this mechanical detail has a reference to the motor schedule on page E6, which is the electrical page 6. When it comes to our electrical drawings, this is our electrical site plan. We see the same type of information we saw on the architectural site plan with a few differences. We can see the circuitry that's required for the sign, as well as all the circuitries that are required for the exterior plugs for the car parking. When it says P1-13, 15, that means it's going to be going into panel 1, circuits 13 and 15. So we can associate all of our circuitry with this as well as where it's to be run to. This drawing has a scale of 1 to 400, so I would be able to measure off the building to with the sign location in order to know where my underground layout has to go. You can also see that this drawing contains detail references for the trench detail as well as for the parking lot plugs. So we would be able to find those details in a separate part of our electrical drawings. For our electrical floor plans, these are called the reflected ceiling plan, and which shows the lighting layout. We can also have receptacle and data locations marked on these drawings as well. For our electrical plan, we can have an electrical lighting layout as well as an electrical receptacle layout, or they can both be put onto the same page. Things we can identify on this drawing are such things as our home runs. So from our switch, we see a line with an arrow. That indicates that that is going back to the panel L1 to circuit 15. We can also identify how many wires are expected to be in each conduit, and every line that has 2 hash marks in it indicates that there are going to be 2 wires inside there. And we can also identify where all the junction boxes are going to be inside this particular room. For our electrical sections and details, we have a riser diagram, which is also a type of single line diagram. And this will give us certain details such as interconnectivity, as well as conduit size, as well as wire size, and any labeling that we need to know for our layout. Electrical schedules list details and other information of different components, and all these components would be like components. This is our motor schedule, for example. You'll notice on the very top line, M1, that is the rooftop exhaust fan that we saw on the mechanical drawing. This will tell us where it is located, what it's controlled by, and also any other electrical information that is related to that motor. We would also have other types of schedules, such as lighting schedules. What type of light fixtures would go in each different room? We would have panel schedules, which would give us the total layout of the circuitry inside each panel as well. There are a number of different schedules that we need to be familiar with and know what kind of information to be found within them. For the landscaping division, it's going to show us the overall layout again of the entire property, and it will also show us things such as where are the sidewalks going, where are the driveways going, where are the shrubberies going. It can also tell us whether or not we have things like pumps or fountains to worry about as well. Understanding and knowing how to read the landscaping drawings is important to us because now we know the location of the pumps and what we need to do in order to power them. It's important to be familiar with all these different divisions of the drawing because when we do a project, we're not just going to be looking at the electrical drawings, we have to be familiar with all of them because we're going to find relevant information on different parts of each drawing. When it comes to the hierarchy of the drawings, it is similar to the hierarchy of the specifications that we already discussed. First and foremost is the Canadian Electrical Code and the inspectors, and right below the code is the architect, which creates the addendums, which goes to the specification, which goes to the prints. We also have a hierarchy that exists within a set of prints. Each of the divisions themselves will have a different standing. As we go through the drawings from architectural to structural to mechanical and then to electrical and then to the landscaping, the hierarchy follows the same pattern. So whatever is mentioned on the architectural drawing will take precedence over whatever is mentioned on the rest of our drawings. So it's important for us to be able to cross-reference other drawings to make sure we have the right information. Let's look at an example of how we can use the drawing hierarchy. In this particular instance, I have an architectural drawing and I have an electrical drawing, both showing Office 115. On the electrical drawing, I can see the legend which indicates that I have 2 different types of fixtures, one being a surface-mounted fixture and the other one being a recessed fixture. The electrical drawing indicates that we should be installing surface-mounted fixtures. However, the architectural drawing shows that we have recessed fixtures. Since we found a conflict in the drawings, we use the same process that we used when it came to the specification book. The first thing we want to do is look for an addendum written that solves the conflict. The addendum will always be identified on the drawing with the greatest hierarchy, in this case the architectural drawing. Any other drawings that are affected by the change should have a triangle notation on the drawing themselves as well. That would indicate to me that I need to go to the architectural drawing and read the addendum that accompanies that change. Another type of drawing that's useful for us to understand are the piping and instrumentation drawings, also known as the PID. These drawings are mechanical drawings used for systems like boiler heaters. They would include equipment, valves, controls, instrumentation devices, and some of these systems can include electrical components. These are a different type of single line diagram and are typically not found to be to scale. In order to properly read these diagrams, we follow the process from the left-hand side of the page to the right-hand side of the page like we do with our schematics. There are a number of different devices that we can find inside our piping and instrumentation drawings. There's 5 different groups, and each group have 4 basic types of devices. For example, an indicator could either be a flow, a level, a pressure, or temperature type of device. Instrumentation devices are all represented by letters inside circles. These letters would indicate the type and the function of the device, and most letters and definitions are standardized, but you should always consult the legend if you're in doubt. The number that is found inside the circle would also indicate if there's a number of different similar types of devices. For example, we see PI 15, which would indicate that this is a pressure indicator number 15. This would also indicate to me that there's 14 other pressure indicators inside these drawings. When it comes to symbology, these are the more common symbols we find inside instrumentation drawings. Keep in mind these symbols are not standardized, so we should be consulting the legend as well. For the line types, we have 3 different types of lines which indicate the 3 different types of power that we can have inside an instrumentation drawing. For example, the hatched line is electrically powered, whereas the solid line with the L is hydraulically powered, and the solid line with 2 hash marks are pneumatically powered. Depending on the piping and instrumentation drawings that we're using, we might be able to cross-reference components with our own electrical schedule as well. Learning to work with both a set of drawings and a specification that relates to it is a skill that is needed on every job site, and it's always best to practice that skill. In Blackboard, you will find a PDF of our drawings as well as a worksheet that goes along with those drawings. Once you finish this module and you finish the worksheets that accompany both this one as well as 205I and 205J, you're going to be ready to write your S5-Prints exam. This concludes module number 205K.